The first thing the man did after being reborn was to watch as his wife spent 200 million to buy a jade pendant for the scamming man. The reason his wife was so generous was because of the unlimited black card he had previously given her. However, the woman never expected that he had already frozen the secondary card in her possession. Today, he was determined to make her pay for her actions because he had been reborn in the previous life. He had always been at his wife's beck and call, but she had only treated him as a cash machine. Not only did she and the scamming man take all his assets, but they also staged a car accident to leave him paralyzed in bed. It was only then that he realized he had loved the wrong person, but it was already too late. In the end, he died in agony, tortured by the scamming man. Before his death, he swore that if there was a next life, he would make them pay. To his surprise, when he opened his eyes again, he was reborn, and he had returned to the auction house where he had once borrowed money to place his wife. At this moment, his wife was trying to coax him into buying the jade pendant for her. The scamming man was also mocking the man for being poor, and attending the auction by railing on the woman, looking at her arrogant behavior. The man suddenly remembered the tragic death he had suffered in the previous life. Furious, he swore to make them both pay. Seeing the man remain silent, the scamming man quickly urged him to raise his bid. The man, now fully awake, no longer obeyed like in his previous life. Watching the scamming man's urging, he snared, and declared that he would let him have the good opportunity. The scamming man was left speechless, and the woman was shocked by his attitude. Then the scamming man accused the man of being just a driver's son, and how dare he show such a face to the woman. The man immediately retorted, asking the woman which of her possessions was bought by him. Even the villa her parents live in, and the sports car her brother drove, were all bought with his money. Seeing the situation exposed, the woman became frantic, and the audience below began to gossip. Little did they know, this was only the first step of the man's revenge. But even so, the woman was still so arrogant, even threatening him with her wedding, saying that if he bought the jade pendant for her, she would pretend nothing had happened. The man decided to go along with her request, and directly paid 100 million to buy the jade pendant. At this moment, the woman was smoked, thinking she had fully controlled the man, and prepared to give the jade pendant to the scamming man later. However, when the woman approached to claim it, the man questioned her, saying, "I paid 100 million for this. Why should I give it to you?" He even sarcastically asked her if she couldn't afford it herself. Amid the murmurs of the crowd, the woman, in order to save face, pulled out her black card, and declared that she would spend 200 million to buy the jade pendant from him. Her bold move shocked the wealthy people present. Such a lavish act made her seem like a top-tier billionaire. Hearing the compliments from the crowd, the woman became intoxicated, unable to extricate herself. The man, however, only smiled to himself in secret. To make sure the woman couldn't back out, the man asked the staff to bring out a transfer agreement. Without hesitation, the woman signed her name. Little did she know that her arrogance now would lead to her tragic end later. When the staff tried to process the payment, it was declined twice due to insufficient balance. The staff informed her that if the payment couldn't be made, they would pursue legal action. The woman completely panicked, and the onlookers began to gossip. The scamming man quickly suggested she borrow money at high interest. The woman still fantasized that the man would beg her to reconcile, and that he would pay all the debts. So, she borrowed 200 million from a loan shark, and purchased the jade pendant. However, at this moment, the scamming man's phone received a 5% commission. The man, saying that he had a 100 million, handed the jade pendant over to her, and then tried to leave. But suddenly, the lights in the room went